Well, it's entirely up to you. It's how you, what you want to see, what you want me to explain, what you want me to talk about is quite all right. I'm fully aware that my life is very different to how most people live their lives. What is Nick Helleur's day like? Well, do you know what? My typical day is a bit like, I don't know if anybody's ever watching this, seen the film Groundhog Day. That's what Nick Helleur's day is like. Normally, I either wake up at a lake somewhere or by a piece of river or canal or whatever, I get up, and if I've not had a bite, I see bite time out. But most of the time, if I've not had a bite, I should have had a bite. I don't even see bite time out because I've already bought them. I've always had this insatiable drive and thirst for fishing. You know, not like campaign fishing, not like I'm going to go and fish for heather or basil and I'm going to sit there until and all that sort of thing. And I've got a lot of friends that do that, and I really admire them for that mindset, because it's not a mindset that I'm comfortable with. You know, I don't want to be. I get bored easily. I think that's the truth. I'm, ADHD child. You know, grown up drinking orange squash that drove us all mad, and sweets and stuff. I don't know, but whatever the true reasons, I just love fishing. I loved all sorts of fishing, and I wanted to be everywhere and do everything all the time, and that's just how it was. Compared to most people's lives, even dedicated carp anglers, I fish more up till this point than most people could fish in 10 lifetimes. You know, people that go to work, run a family, work 5 days a week, you know, even if you live to be 200, you could never have done the amount of fishing that I have. Now, I've done that by choice, but because I've lived my life like that, it greatly changes how you view fishing. How can it not? Now, I could have become the world's greatest big carp. You know, I could have sat, for want of a better description, I could have sat there, targeted very big fish and just dedicated my life to doing that. Because of the way I've grown up and the way I fish, I just couldn't do that. It would hold no interest for me. I'd get bored too quickly. I'm a bit like a gambler. You know, you see these blokes that spend their days in a betting shop. Now, I've never been a gambler in that respect. But as a fisherman, am I a gambler? Yeah, you can bet I'm a gambler. I ride my luck, you know, and I roll with things. And I think that's the makings of an angler. You know, I think, you know, when you see anglers that fish like that, they're the anglers. You know, they're the ones that, you know, they're always playing hunches and going on little things, and that's how I spend my days. I woke up at first light, I hadn't caught one. The birds came in, dived at me, picked up a couple of baits, which meant the bait was still there, which meant they hadn't even been on me through the night, which is quite surprising, but all it says to me is, if they hadn't been on me through the night when they were literally not even a rod length from me, a lot of them, flanking on the bottom, I really thought there'd be a bite sometime in the early hours. There wasn't. Now, I could stay till mid-morning, but of course when you're fishing, time is of the essence. So we made the decision to go to the cafe, because that's part of my daily routine. I go and have a nice coffee, sometimes have a breakfast, and now we're off to somewhere else. We're off probably a half-hour journey on the motorway to another lake, somewhere a bit special this time. I'm just trying to give you a realistic view of my day, because this is how it happens for me. So we're going to go somewhere else now, check this out, and if it doesn't look like it's going to happen there, we'll be off somewhere else again. We're going to go to yet another lake. So I would imagine that even today, I'm not trying to go to lots of lakes to show you this is what I do. This is a realistic representation of my day. We come to the next place, and this is the lake I was at yesterday. The only way I can describe it, in modern carp fishing terms, you know, there isn't any 50-pounders or 40-pounders in here, but this is as important to me as Redmire or Ashley Pool. In fact, it's quite reminiscent of both of them. It's like a moat. It's a really weird bit of water that I actually didn't know until quite recently, which is surprising for me, seeing as I know, it's my job, I know everywhere pretty much, or I like to think I know everywhere. Anyway, I came yesterday, very shallow. As you see from the cutaways you'll see, like, it's very, very clear, like mega clear, like gin is the only way to describe it. A small head of lovely old carp that are like a family. So there's a few commons, one bigger one, which at the moment is so grotesquely full of eggs that it just, from up the tree, it's like literally breathtaking. You know, you're like, oh my God, it's like a giant. Anyway, I'll be lucky if it's a 30-pounder, but that's not important. There's 2, maybe 3 females that at the moment are quite swelled up with eggs. And because they live in this gin clear, very shallow, weedy environment, they are like living dinosaurs. They're almost got a purple, reddy purple hue to them. Magnificent is the only word I can really use. But anyway, I put some pellet out yesterday, some manila pellet, which is quite yellow. Anyway, I threw it just up this tree here and I threw it out. It's very weedy, top to bottom, with like a mare's tail type weed. I feel ignorant, I don't know the name of it, but it's quite a rare one for me. You know, growing up in the Colne Valley where it's always historically been Canadian and the odd bit of onion weed in more recent years, this is quite a rare weed. But they spend their day out in the weed, and because the females are so full of eggs, their tails are lopping out the water, and you know, it's just incredible, very, very exciting. So as you can see, I've got my rod in the tree, and you've got the whole stock, not 2 or 3 rod lengths from us, just sat in the weed, like looking magnificent. So, you know, it's not the day that yesterday was. It's quite cold and a bit grey, but beggars can't be choosers, and anyway, we'll see how it unfolds. You know, my father was a fantastic father and family man from a different era, you know, from an era where you met a girl and you got married and you got a trade and you went to work and you got a house and you had your family, and that was you, that was your lot. And I watched my father work for the same company for 50 odd years, and then when he was retired, he was done. You know, he was so institutionalised into that life that when retirement came around, all the plans he had and all that just fell by the wayside, and I just watched him deteriorate in a chair. You know, like in much the same way as I imagine I would if you took fishing from me. You know, what would I do? What purpose would I have? Well, none. You know, without fishing, I don't think I'd have a purpose anyway. In the modern world, is there a place for a Nick? Do you know what? I don't think there is. I don't think there is. It'd be a pretty depressing, sad existence. So I'm fully aware that my life is very different to an awful lot of other people. And sometimes it worries me a little bit, but yeah, I'm very aware of it, that's for sure.